Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. This time around, it is Young Merlin for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This is a top-down-ish, Zelda-like puzzle adventure, for lack of a better phrasing. It's an adventure game, but it has plenty of puzzle elements in it to keep you busy for a while. And the story is more in the manual than anything else. Like, you only get a little bit of the story just from watching the introductory thing, the little introductory cutscene when you start the game. A host of evil creatures has besieged this once pristine land. From his underground palace, the Shadow King is directing his minions, the meanies, to infiltrate, corrupt, and destroy all things of beauty. The Shadow King is winning. All in the land will soon quiver beneath his vile gaze. Swept away by a raging river while trying to save a beautiful maiden, young Merlin finds himself in this enchanted land. As he explores, he discovers the Shadow King's hideous plot. Armed with an arsenal of magical objects, Merlin enlists the aid of the Lady of the Lake and vanquishes the Shadow King's evil minions. It takes all Merlin's cunning and skill to penetrate the Shadow King's defenses and crush him forever. Or so the legend in the instruction manual goes. So this was made by Westwood Studios. They created quite a few series. They created the Eye of the Beholder series, Legend of Kyrandia, the Dune games, the Lands of Lore series, the Command & Conquer games. And they're also responsible for this PC CD-ROM version of Monopoly from back in 1995 when I was a kid, as well as the Lion King, the Super Nintendo and Genesis versions, just to name a few. Sadly, they're no longer with us. It was eventually merged into Electronic Arts Los Angeles, and that was that. Although some of the people who did work in Westwood Studios would go on to create other development studios, while EA Los Angeles would later become DreamWorks Interactive and later Danger Close Games before finally shutting down in 2013, sadly. And that would be succeeded by Ripple Effect Studios, which would later become EA Digital Illusions, which is neither here nor there. And Digital Illusions, of course, is also known as DICE. So it is kind of here nor there, but also neither here nor there. What I meant to say was it is neither here nor there, although it also isn't. Anyway, I have been rambling for long enough. It's time to get this game started. So I'm just going to go ahead and press start. And press start again on the last note of this. And here's the introductory cutscene. There's young Merlin. We're playing as him. And there is that maiden who's being swept down the river. Merlin goes in to save him. We get this Mode 7 scene of going down the river, and we end up down here. So we can move around in 8 directions with the D-pad. We can't do anything with Y and B yet. And the things that are equipped to those buttons will be in the lower left corner. In the upper left-hand corner is your health. You start out with 3 hearts, though you will get more. And you also get your shamrock count in the lower right-hand corner. When you defeat enemies, sometimes you'll get shamrocks. If you pick them up, you'll add them to the shamrock count. And if you collect 12 of them, you'll either get temporary invincibility or a full health refill. It's kind of random. It's 50-50. Anyway, let's start by grabbing this gem. And the game will tell you to press the Y button to throw the jewel into the pool. And by doing that, we add this to this little rainbow here, and we get a star. You want to grab the star by walking into it like you did the gem, and it'll be assigned to the B button. You can attack with the B button when you have the stars. Now the game is telling us to go to the right. So we're going to go to the right. And there's this tree who's going to attack us if given the chance. But if you get up to it and attack aggressively, you'll take it out. Now the game is telling you to grab this orange gem. So we're going to grab that, and we're also going to grab the bottle. We need to take the orange gem back to the waterfall and throw it in. And by doing that, we added a rainbow here, and we get a bag of magic powder. And you can switch between objects in the Y item slot with R. You can also, if you press start, you'll get the music and sound test, and you'll get a password, which you can get anytime. If you get a password from the Lady Lake at any point in the game, you can also put in a password here if you wish. And if you press select, you'll see your inventory screen, where you can take a bit of a breather and equip what you can to Y and B at your own pace, so to speak, without scrambling through what's there on the shoulder buttons. You can only equip one item at a time on the screen, and if you use the bottle when it is empty at any body of water that has a bottle sign near it, like so, you'll get some water. There are 3 kinds of water. There's regular water, which will heal you. There is the rainbow water, which heals you, I think, a little bit more. And there's also this blue water that gives you temporary invincibility. Anyway, we have this bag of magic powder. If we use it on these plants, we can get past them without getting chomped on. You must use the bag of magic powder and advance quickly if you want to get past those evil plants. You also want to keep the bag of magic powder equipped whenever necessary because, well, you're going to need it with some enemies. There is a flower here that we can pick up amazingly. We're going to need that for later, I would imagine. I can't believe I just now noticed it. But anyway, the meanies will sometimes show up in areas and create enemies such as these oinkmers. The oinkmers will walk and charge towards you, and you don't want to be near them when they charge because they will try to hurt you. Also, you want to go over here for a health extension. If you see a little frame of a heart with nothing in it like that, you'll get... Ow. You will get the ability to add to your health 1 more heart. Also, you have infinity lives in this game. Don't give up whatever you do. Even though this game can be a little bit tricky and a little bit hard. Now here's what I want to do. When you get near this big pig, which is the Thunder Pig, you want to freeze it and hit it with your star 5 times. When you do, you'll get this cutscene, which takes place southwest of where you are at this lake, where the meanies show up at this lake with a fairy in it. The meanies show up and imprison a fairy within a cube, and now that fairy needs to be rescued. After you defeat the Thunder Pig, you'll get a password that consists of the X, Y, B, L, and R buttons. You'll want to copy it down. And in case you want to start back from where you left off, you can put in the password on the start button menu. Anyway, to get off this password screen as soon as you see it, press start, and you'll be able to continue with the adventure. First things first, I want to heal. Enemies will... Really? That's terrible. Apparently the normal water heals more than the rainbow water, apparently. Who would have thought? Anyway, if we go over here, there's a mine. There's nothing for us to do there yet, but I do want to go over here and get the heart container in there, just south of the mine entrance, so that way I can get another hit point for my health. And if you go over here, you'll find the town of Pinedale. You won't be able to do anything of value here yet. And if you go down here, you'll notice that there is a lantern right here. And we're going to have to get that later. Thankfully, we'll be able to get it. The scrolling is a little strange, but you do get used to it. It slowly moves and eventually centers on you, but it can be a bit concerning, just a little bit, when you're moving around. Anyway, this meanie is now moving back and forth on this log. And if you move towards it, it will draw this line. And if you move towards it, it'll move back. And if you move towards it again, it will charge at you and cost you a little bit of your health before it disappears. Now this water will give you very brief invincibility. We will need it. Anyway, if you go over here, you'll be able to talk to the fairy. And the fairy will tell you that one of the meanies imprisoned its fairy friend in the little cube. And you'll need to go southeast in order to rescue your little furry friend. Now, if you go over... Now, there's some places you can go for the time being. Is it here that you can go? Yes. If you go to the east of that log bridge, you'll find a lantern, and you'll also find the imprisoned fairy on the other side of the river. However, it will take us a bit of time to rescue it. I do want to keep the invincibility water on standby for what we're going to do. Because there's going to be another tree in the way, and it's going to attack me. Yeah, that took a lot of health from us. And it's a good thing that we had the invincibility water. Because we were able to get past that tree and get the yellow gem. Now, if we go over here, the meanies will be in the way. You won't be able to get past them yet, and if you do, you will lose a little bit of health, and I only have like half a heart of health remaining, and I want to preserve it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get the invincibility water for just in case. We're going to take it with us. And in case we run into trouble, well, we can use that. However, I am going to have to get back to where the rainbow was in order to get what is around. Oh my. I should really be using my magic powder here. It would really help. Do want to fight the enemies here, just to be on the safe side. Want to get myself some health before I get out of here. Also, we can go ahead and drink the water here to refill our health. And now, I want to have the bag of magic powder ready to get past the plants and throw the yellow gem in the water here. By doing this, we get a balloon. Now, the balloon lets you inflate yourself and move upwards in certain spots. Though it doesn't seem like you can do that, and it seems kind of useless when you use it at first. But when you are going to go to where I'm about to go, you'll soon see what I'm talking about. So, in order to continue the game, we're going to have to go to the mine that we saw earlier. Thankfully, we found the lantern, which will allow us to see while we're in there. And so, because of that, we won't have any problems being able to see anything in there. Now, thankfully, we found 2 heart containers. We have plenty of health to get through this, but we still need to figure out what we need to do, because it's pretty easy to get lost in this place. The first thing you want to do is head to the northeast corner of the maze. All the while, you'll be fighting kobolds with axes and shields. Axes, much like the ones thrown by the Thunder Pig. It's a good thing I was quick on the draw when defeating it. And when you get to this ladder from going up from the start, you want to go up to it and you want to use the balloon. You want to go up to that ladder. You want to make sure you're right in front of it. And the balloon will allow you to float up here and get the red gem. However, we're not quite done yet, because there are still some things that we need to get. And in order to get there, we have to travel the northernmost part of the maze, and we need to explore a little bit. There are 3 walls that you can go through just by walking through them, and you'll be able to find some secret stuff. Thankfully, there are maps on vgmaps.com, and they're pretty good for this sort of purpose. And I need to figure out where in the world I am. Okay. Cool. We're where we need to be, for the most part. You definitely want to use the bag of magic powder against the kobolds here to freeze them and to easily take them out. This wall here leads to a heart container. You want to make sure you get that. Now we're going to go back, and we are going to go up the ladder. There are going to be plenty of kobolds to fight on the way there. Be ready to freeze and defeat them. And you want to make sure that you go down this ladder. And you want to go through the wall. Really? You want to make sure you go through the wall here, because that leads to a second bottle. You do need this bottle, and it's better late than never when it comes to getting it. Or, in this case, better early than late than never. From here, you want to go further south once you get out of that room, and you want to go down this ladder. Let's take care of the kobold. And from here, we want to walk through this ladder, and we're going to need to use the balloon to get up through this heart container. We should now have 7 hearts for our health, and this is everything that we need. So all we need to do, we could go to the right, but unfortunately if we do that, there's going to be this pit that we can't cross. So we're going to have to make our way all the way back. Thankfully, the way is going to be cleared. And we should be able to get out of there. And from here, we just need to keep as far up to the top as we can. And we should eventually be able to get out of here. By the way, the little areas with the danger signs, you can call through those and enter like random parts of the maze. But there's no real reason to use them if you know where to go and where everything is. Besides, you're probably going to be sent somewhere random with those things anyway. And we are now back out. And now it is time to head back to the waterfall because we have the red gem. We have the 2 heart containers, the second bottle, and the second bottle. We have the second bottle, the red gem, and the 2 heart containers. So we have everything from there that we need for now. We will have to return to that mine eventually. And now we need to throw the red gem in the water here. So we now have 4 lines to this rainbow, and we now have this weird little bubble wand looking thing. Which we can use to blow bubbles. Obviously, we need to use this because every other item we've gotten from this little waterfall we've gotten before has been useful in some way. But what exactly do we do with it? Join me next time where we find a use for this bubble wand and continue our adventure. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!